I'm Martha Surpass. I teach poetry writing at the University of Houston in the undergraduate, MFA, and PhD programs.
I'm Matt Johnson. I've been teaching at the University of Houston for 10 years. I teach fiction and also nonfiction sometimes, and I teach the graphic novel.
I'm Chitra Divakaruni, and I'm a professor at the creative writing program at the University of Houston.
My name is Roberto Tejada. I'm a professor and faculty in the creative writing program at the University of Houston in the Division of Poetry.
Okay, I'm Kevin Proofer, and I am professor in the creative writing program in the poetry department.
I'm Alex Parsons, and I am the director of the creative writing program here at the University of Houston. I am in my second year of this position, and I find it to be one of the most delightful jobs, if not the most delightful I've ever held.
There are few places in our current moment where pursuing your art is supported, both materially, spiritually, in all ways. And so a good MFA program will do that. It'll provide you with good mentors, good peers, and means of support so that you can focus on your writing. And I would say most importantly, to help you develop a vision and a process that will sustain you after the program so that writing works for you in the context of your otherwise complicated life.
Good reasons are that you've done everything you can to progress as a writer, and you've hit a wall. And you need to join a larger community. You need to know more about the contemporary dialogue, and you want to get to the next level. That's a good reason. There's a lot of bad reasons that probably outweigh the good reasons. The bad reason is I've been in school since kindergarten and I'm graduating, from college, and I'm desperate to find something else to do that isn't a job. Bad reason. Or I'm going to become a rich novelist. Extremely bad reason. So usually it has to be an artistic decision. It has to be that you already have gotten as far as you can as a writer, and this is the only next step you can do.
Age doesn't really matter as to when you are entering an MFA program. That is my strong belief. What really matters is how committed you are to your writing and whether you have an idea, at least somewhat of an idea for a project. There are writers who write very well from a young age, and writers who write well because they've been out in the world. So really, it's the passion, it's the commitment, it's the project. Those are things I look for.
I mean, I don't know if there's a model for every writer, but I do think that the best or ideal moment would be once, as a writer, you've had some experience in the world. My inclination would be not to recommend that one pursue an MFA immediately after one's undergraduate degree. That experience, both in the greater world, traveling, different work environments, different social environments, only add to what you can gain in a creative writing program.
I have MFA students who just finished their undergraduate degree, and I have students who have had other careers and are beyond what we understand now to be midlife. And I think that's wonderful, and I think that mix is wonderful.
When I'm reading the writing sample, I'm looking for quality. How good is the writing? I'm also looking for subject matter. Is this original? Is this a different take on a subject we've seen before? What is this writer bringing that is different from other writers?
I would say the best writing samples we get tend to be those that show a few things. One of them is that the poet really understands that there's maybe more to writing poetry than confessing or simply self-expression, that they're poets who are trying to communicate ideas and are using their poems as a way of thinking publicly.
Well, we get in hundreds of writing samples. The first thing I'm looking for is for it to be awful so I can throw it in the trash and go watch the game. So you have to force me to keep working. It has to be that good that I'm not going to just push it away. Because if I come home with 20 different applications, I'm in pain when I find it to be a lovely written piece, because that means I've got to spend the next hour enjoying myself with your work. So that voice has to grip me. That voice has to refuse to let me just put it away. The majority of the applications we get, they are competent. I don't want competent. Competent in art is generic. So what I want is something that is new, something I haven't seen before, and something where I can feel the writer on the other end of the page.
In creative writing, you're being given a cliche. Why do you want to study writing? And the cliche is, well, I've always loved reading and writing, and I would just like nothing more than to be a reader and writer. But that's kind of a given already, and it doesn't separate you from anyone. It's the thing that everybody says who wants to go to a program. But here you have this opportunity to reveal something of yourself. So if you're going to be effective in that statement, you want to show us the kind of storyteller you are. So begin with something, for instance, autobiographical, right? Capture a moment in your life that says something about your personality and maybe, the people you come from or the world you inhabit. And work outward from that in terms of why that moment connects to this application before us, and more specifically probably the writing and the influences on that writing.
Sometimes I've gotten a sense from an essay that it's the same essay that's been submitted to 10 or 15 other schools with a little sentence tacked on the bottom that says, I really want to study with Tony Hoagland, Martha Surpass, and Roberto Tejada, Nick Flynn, and Kevin Proofer. That's fine. I mean, I assume you're applying here partly because you want to study with one of us. I think that it's more helpful to say, I would like to study particularly with Martha Surpass because of her, deep interest in theology and poetry, and this is something that I've been exploring too.
I think when I read passion, I often read, I want to know, I want to learn, I want to try, I need some help, I need some community. That along with a writing sample that shows promise and accomplishment already. That's a good application.
It also cannot look like a letter from the Unabomber. Like that's